السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن ثم ما بعد. We'll continue our class in the explanation of the book عمدة الأحكام by الحافظ عبد الغني بن عبد الواحد المقدسي رحمه الله تعالى. And we're still in the book of the prayer, in the chapter of the description of the prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The author رحمه الله, he said, under the authority of أبي قلابة عن أبي قلابة عبد الله ibn Zayd al-Jarmi al-Basri. So under the authority of Abi Qilaba Abdullah bin Zayd al-Jarmi al-Basri, he said, قال جاءنا مالك بن الحويرث في مسجدنا هذا. He said, Malik ibn al-Huwayrith came to us, to this masjid of ours. فقال, and he said, إني لأصلي بكم وما أريد الصلاة. He said, I will pray with you, I will lead you in the prayer, and it isn't that I intend to pray, it isn't why I'm praying. أصلي كيف رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي. He said, I'm praying to show you, or I'm praying just like I saw the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم pray. قال فقلت لأبي قلابة. So the narrator of the hadith, he said, I said to أبي قلابة, كيف كان يصلي? How did he pray? قال مثل صلاة شيخنا هذا. He said, just like the prayer of this sheikh of ours, this teacher or this old man or this scholar of ours. قال وكان يجلس إذا رفع رأسه من السجود قبل أن ينهض. He said he used to sit when he raises his head from sujood, from prostration, before standing. He said, the author رحمه الله, he said, أراد بشيخهم أبا بريدة عمرو بن السلمة الجرمي. He said he intended with mentioning their sheikh أبا بريدة عمرو بن السلمة الجرمي, and it is said that it is Abu Yazid, Abu Buraidah or Abu Yazid. And this hadith is reported and collected by Imam al-Bukhari. So Abu Qilaba radiyallahu anhu, or rahimahullah, he said, Malik ibn al-Huwayrith, one of the companions, he came to our masjid. And he said, I came to pray with you, a prayer in which it isn't that I'm trying to pray, as in to actually pray merely to do the act of worship. This isn't what I'm trying to do. And rather, he said, it is in order to teach the people how the Messenger ﷺ used to pray. And it is by way of showing them, because it will remain with them and they will understand it better and they will memorize it better. When someone sees something, it is better and it remains with him more so than if he was to tell them. قال فقال الراوي. So the narrator, he said, the narrator of this narration, he said, how did Malik, he asked Abi Qilaba, he said, how did Malik ibn al-Huwayrith, the one who taught you the prayer of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how did he pray? And he said, Abu Qilaba, he said, just like the prayer of this sheikh or this teacher or the scholar of ours, and referring to Abi Yazid Amr ibn Salama al-Jarmi. And he used to sit, and this is the point of evidence in the hadith that the author rahimahullah mentioned this hadith for. He said he used to sit a slight sitting for a short period of time when he raises his head from sujood before standing up. So this is referring, of course, to the first rak'ah, for example, or the third rak'ah in a prayer that is more than 3 rak'at, in a prayer that is 4 rak'at. So if the person was making sujood and he wanted to get up from sujood and to stand up, so the movement from sujood, from prostration to standing up, that one in this hadith, it shows us that it is legislated to sit slightly, so to raise one's head to get up from prostration, sit slightly and then get up and stand up, rather than coming up directly from prostration to standing. And this is called jalsat al-istiraha, the sitting of rest, and this is something that the people of knowledge, they agree that it is permissible. And the people of knowledge have differed in regards to whether or not it is recommended to sit this slight sitting or the sitting of rest. Some of the people of knowledge, they say, such as Shafi'i, and one of the statements of Imam Ahmad, may Allah have mercy on all of them, they said that it is recommended, and the evidence of that is this hadith. Other people of knowledge, they said no, it is not recommended. And they said most of the hadith, the majority of the hadith that describe the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ do not mention the sitting. Other people of knowledge, they said a statement that is in between. They said it is recommended if one is in need of it, such as because of old age, or one is tired, or one is sick. So if there's, or because of weakness, or whatever it is, then it is recommended because of the need. If the person, it was difficult for him to get up directly from sujood, from prostration to standing up, if it is difficult for him, then it is recommended for him to sit a slight sitting and then get up. Of course, this is a very short sitting. It doesn't mean that one sits for a long period of time. No, it's merely a quick, very slight. He sits and then he gets up. And some of the people of knowledge, like we said, they said this is in between. This is by way of that one would have used all of the ahadith. However, because of this hadith is an authentic hadith, and it tells us that the Messenger ﷺ used to sit this slight sitting, and this the sitting of rest, and therefore Allah knows best. The stronger opinion is that it is legislated and that it is recommended. Wallahu alam. Nevertheless, this is a matter of disagreement. So one who does not sit it should not be blamed, and one who does sit this slight sitting should not be blamed. Wallahu alam. And we benefit from this hadith, the legislation, that it is legislated and it is permissible, and to actually do the acts of worship specifically to show the people how to do it and how to perform it, and that this is not a form of showing off or a form of riyā. No, this would not be the case. If the person was doing the act of worship in order to teach the people, then this is a matter that is recommended. And the Messenger ﷺ himself, he prayed on the minbar so that the people can see him while he's praying, and that they would learn from him ﷺ. And there are many hadith of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum doing different acts of worship in the presence of people in order to teach the people how to perform those acts of worship. And then the author rahimahullah, after that, he said, عن عبد الله بن مالك بن بحينة رضي الله عنه, under the authority of Abdullah bin Malik بن بحينة, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا صلى فرج بين يديه حتى يبدو بياض إبطيه. That the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, when he prays, he spreads out his hands so much so that one can see the whiteness of his armpits, the armpits of the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, the whiteness in them. So from this hadith, we collect that the prayer of the Messenger ﷺ was a prayer in which the Messenger ﷺ comes towards the prayer with energetic and being happy and wanting to pray and wanting to perform the prayer, and he gives every limb, every part of the prayer its due right and its part in the worship. And therefore, when he performs sujood, when he prostrates, the Messenger ﷺ, he used to put his hands away from his body, so much so to the point of that the people would be able to see his armpits because of how far away his hands were from his body, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all of that is from showing energy and wanting to be in the prayer and wanting to perform the prayer and being away from laziness and being lazy in the prayer. Unlike those who pray and they put their parts and they put their limbs close to each other and they close themselves as to make the prayer in their eyes and what they think that they are trying to find comfort, that they are comfortable in the prayer. And sometimes the way they look and the way they act, it is as if they are falling asleep, or they could fall asleep if they were to sit in that position or to remain in that position for a long period of time. So this hadith tells us regarding the position of sujood, of prostration, and where the hands are supposed to be in regards to prostration, where the person puts his hand. That the person puts his hand far away from his body. Also, that the Messenger ﷺ, he forbade and he commanded that one raises his elbow. So the elbow itself is not supposed to touch the ground when the person prostrates in the salah, and rather his elbows are up and his hands are far away from his body. And this hadith, although the hadith itself, the text of the hadith itself does not mention prostration and sujood, however, it should be understood as such, because how else or what other position would the armpits show when the Messenger ﷺ, he puts his hands away from his body, of course that is the prostration. This is the only position in which that is possible. And so it should be understood as such, and especially that there are other ahadith that do mention putting the hands and raising the elbows, and that explains this hadith. In addition, there are great benefits, as we mentioned, in regards to doing so, in regards to putting the hands away from the body. From that is being energetic, spending energy and being strong in performing the salah, rather than being lazy and being showing weakness by way of putting the body close to each other and closing the body limbs together. And also in doing so, meaning in spreading the hands, one would be using all of his limbs, all of the parts of the sujood will be strongly touching the ground and performing sujood along with him. Some of the people of knowledge, they said that this is specific for the men and that it is not for the women. And they use as an evidence the statement, the hadith, that the Messenger ﷺ passed by two women who were praying, and he said to them that if you perform sujood, if you perform prostration, then close your body parts, because the woman is not like the man in regards to that. However, this hadith is weak. And the correct opinion, although some of the people of knowledge, they say that the woman should close her body parts and should put her hands close to her body, and other than that, and her that she should close her body when she prays. However, what is correct in regards to that is that the woman is like the man, unless there's an evidence that shows us that she is different in regards to any rulings. If there is no evidence of her being different in regards to any rulings, then she is just like the man. And therefore, the stronger opinion is that she prays the same exact way. One thing to pay attention to is if the person is praying in prostration, is praying rather in congregation, and he wants to prostrate, he wants to make sujood, that one should not bother the people next to him by way of extending and spreading out his hands to the point of bothering the people next to him. And rather, one should put it in a way that is close to the people next to him without bothering them. And rather, in a normal way. One should put them in a normal way where it does not bother the people next to him. And this is known in general, that when the person is praying in congregation, sometimes it is permissible and legislated to leave off certain things, such as the way to sit, al-tawarruk, and other than that, in order not to bother the people next to the person. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in.